Hello there. Updated settings. I just want to make sure that everything's good. We had quite a few people RSVP, so we'll wait for a second, but I just want to make sure that everything's all working. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me okay? Sweet. We got some more people coming in now. Got a lot to cover. It's been a minute. I'm excited to start doing these again, though. I spent quite a bit of time trying to answer a lot of unanswered questions that were across social media, people that had reached out about a whole bunch of different stuff. And so 2026, getting everything moving again. Well, it's been moving actually this entire last year, but just not in the way that you guys are used to a lot of the communication. So I'm excited to share that with you. Let's see. Let me send a message into the channel and just let everybody know that we are live. Because it looked like we got quite a few people that RSVP'd, at least on the Discord side of things. Let's see. We'll give it about 30 more seconds and then I'll just kind of start diving into some things. But while we're sitting here, while we're waiting for anybody, if you do have some top of the mind questions, obviously I'll be answering that stuff the entire time. But you can go ahead and start putting them in there. And if we have a little bit of time beforehand, we can start at addressing some of those things. I'll probably leave a little bit at the end as well, because I'm sure that some of the things that I will mention will also engage some questions. So with that in mind, sound is good. Perfect. I know I was actually going to use my other microphone, but I couldn't find all my connector pieces. So okay, well, that should about do it on waiting for everybody to jump in. We'll go ahead and get started on this, and then we will, we'll let them watch the replay as we needed to. But again, have your questions ready. If you've been thinking about some things, experiencing some stuff, just get it top of mind. You can even put it in the chat, and let's kind of get started, shall we? Well, thank you everyone for joining. 2026, I say this a lot lately, but just kind of a quick recap of what happened in 2025. A lot happened. The first of the year, we were testing out some different things. We were moving with some different executive functions, especially on the technology side. And we ended up hiring a new CTO in the summertime. He had been a part of this journey for quite some time. He and I and some of the other team members had been discussing what our plan looks like, understanding the product and everything. So he was getting really familiar with us, what we were doing, long before he was ever a candidate in this space. But the timing was right. And with that, we got to a place where we had experienced, I mean, for those that have been with us, you probably know how many times that we've like partnered with major studios, major partners, major CTOs, technology people. And the differences of what we're producing, what we've always wanted to produce. And I'm just going to take you back down memory lane real quick. When we did our first Kickstarter, if you weren't around for that, a lot of things changed within a year and a half of us launching that first Kickstarter with like Unreal 5 coming out and some of the other technologies. And we were, I don't want to say ahead of our time, but we really were. And when we were working with some of the CTOs and some of the other studios that we were working with, everybody was trying to produce this very standardly in the way that you would produce a game. And for those that have you been with us for a while, you understand that we don't classify ourselves as a game as much as we classify ourselves as an experience. And that's because a game has a start and an end. We have never planned that, not even since the original Kickstarter. It's never like you get to a final boss moment, you get to a final level, and this thing is done. So it takes a special person, especially when we're working with gaming technologies, gaming engines, rendering, and all the other stuff that we're doing, but we're also infusing continuous delivery, kind of like SaaS pipelines, software as a service, and even AI. A lot of these things they don't work in the same way. And again, I'll say this for a long time, like we've been different. We've always been different. And I hope that's part of the appeal. But anyway, we brought on this new CTO. He got it. And the architecture and all the discussion that we discussed about what it was going to be and how it was going to be, he just got to work and started putting that together. A lot of it was very painful on my part because I was pushing as hard as I can to get stuff in front of you guys. And he was like, he kept putting the brakes on. He's like saying, we've got to work on all the back end infrastructure to make sure that this is supported. In the meantime, we were so busy raising funds all the way, I was raising full time since March, probably all the way through October last year, in addition to some of the stuff that we did at FanX, as well as just kind of leading up to where we are now. But anyway, he came on board. He started putting all that together with the infrastructure, revamped our development, and earlier back in November, we had hired on a new development team to complement what he was doing. And that's when you saw in Discord, if you saw that, we were asking questions about binding. And we have started working on that. We've actually got it already implemented in some of the test versions that I've been working with. And we haven't quite got to the place where I want to put it in front of you guys. I was hoping to do that by the end of the year last year. But it wasn't in the right place. And then we actually had to let go those people for various reasons. And we've already got a new sort of Unity development team that's coming on board, and then we're moving forward on that. But before all of that happened, we also hired a cloud developer to also build in all the infrastructure, continuous delivery, and a lot of the automation that's going to make kind of our weekly, monthly releases really, really important. And so, not to get into too much. What does it all look like? How does it all look like? The good news is we're in a place that is, and I don't want to say as soon as we find the right people, but it's really important that we do, because the way that we're developing and delivering has to be met with a certain person with a certain criteria that can handle it. That's all that it really is. And so now it's going to be that little bit of juggling, but I'm really happy with the people that we're working with right now. And we should have some stuff very shortly on what that all means. But with binding, the animation procedures, all of this stuff we've been working on, and we do have that continuous delivery pipeline ready to go. So what does that mean? Well, we've already built in like networking, opportunities to spin up servers for multiplayers. As we start to onboard, and we've talked about this, it's not a matter of just being able to support maybe 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 people on the platform at once, but with our projections and some of the things that we plan on doing, it's not going to be unlikely for us to hit 100,000, 1,000,000 users. If you look at any indie game of relevancy, 1,000,000 users is pretty standard. Daily active users is a little bit different, but it's really important for us to make sure that it's scalable, because we don't want you guys to have latency issues. We don't want you to have we want you to have all the wonderful things that make this as seamless as possible. And so it's been a journey, right? For those that have been with us for a long time, you know that this has been a journey. It's been a labor of love, especially on my part and a couple of others. And so we, again, I express this to say we've never gone away. We've never stopped working on this, and we don't plan on it. The good news is, just kind of, well, I'll tell you one more piece about the development, but we do have this sort of Dragon Central Intelligence that has been created as well. And I don't want to get into the details of it, but for those that are familiar with the way that code works, whether it's with API calls or a bunch of other things, the Dragon, it's so interesting how the Dragon is going to be speaking with you guys individually, and then also going back to a central place in the database to be able to store and make sure it's updating properly. But I'm really excited for everything that we have in that, because that just means, like I said, as we get in this continual pattern of release, that's just endless. And then that goes forward endless, moving forward. And I'll talk a little bit about timelines here in just a sec. But yeah, that kind of takes me into the next stage of this, which is the fundraising, right? This whole last year we spent fundraising, and we've got, I see how Michael Spratt, good to see you guys. You got some questions. I will address these in just a second. Let me just get this off my chest. So the fundraising side of things, we've partnered with, you guys have been hearing this for a little bit, a theme park, and the scope of this thing is growing for the theme park and for what that means for Dragon Federation. I'm not at liberty to announce anything official on that front yet, but we are this close, meaning contracts are signed, everything's agreed upon, terms are all there and accepted on all parties. We are waiting for a final couple of things to cross the line. What does that mean? As soon as those things cross the line, the full ecosystem is going to be built out simultaneously, and the opportunity for you guys to participate in this, we've talked about it. I don't think that I ever shared the trailer of the Dragon Riding thing. Maybe I'll post that in the Doorscore channel, or put it up on YouTube if I haven't done it already. Some of the teasers to it. But we're really excited about the partnerships that are coming up. We were able to partner with Sony, NVIDIA, and we've got some really cool things that we're still working on. But I just kind of the bones of announcements here to just kind of let you guys know. The theme park will be here in Utah, so it will be at our home base. So for those of you that are not near right here, just plan a ticket and get out here, because the plan is that it will open this year, and I'll have some updated timelines for that pretty soon as well. But I'll kind of move into the next one because I know that there's been a lot of questions about if eggs are still going to be available for purchase. We've taken that down from the website because we were planning on doing the Kickstarter last year. The fundraising took way longer I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look around and understand the state of not only the economy, but just kind of things that are happening in general. And it's complicated things so significantly. But with all that said, we did put out that announcement letter. If you didn't get the email, it's because it went out to our last sort of most active list in emails, meaning people that have been engaging with the emails over the last 120 days. I will just kind of share this with you. Let me pull this up. If it doesn't slow down the computer, I will put in this link to this site. Well, this site, and actually here, let me, I'll drop this in the chat. Give me 1 second. So that's the link to the site. You can go ahead and click on that. This is, so some of the things that we're talking about here with the Kickstarter. If you do register for this, there is a $5. You guys have seen this before. Really what this is about when we're looking at that $5, we want to see who's going to be purchasing an egg at the Kickstarter. So if you don't plan on purchasing an egg at the Kickstarter, you don't need to sign up for it unless you want some of the goodies that are going to come with this from the VIP tier. But we are just kind of run over a couple of quick things with that. There are going to be early bird discounts on that. There is a digital community badge and a free comic preview. I can show you guys the first page of that comic if you haven't seen it, like the opening. I'll share that here in just a second. But then there's the secret reward tier, which is an access to a new VIP exclusive dragon breed, as well as perks and discounts for the VIPs. And you can kind of see here that we were teasing a new breed exclusive. For those of you that have been following us, you can also see that, you know, there's some hints in here. I'm not gonna say anything about what this is because it's still part of the what we're gonna be doing on the Kickstarter. But excited, and thank you to a lot of our customers that lended their likeness so that we could share some of the stories. I still love this because the cosplay here was on point. That was so great to see. I don't want to give it all away, but you guys know who it is in Discord, and it's pretty great. And yes, we're gonna fix this image, but I'm just gonna scroll past it just because I just kind of want to give you guys a preview of what that page looks like, and then kind of the pipeline that takes you through. This is actually a screenshot of the opening page of the comic preview. But yeah, you can, you know, the website is something that you can share. It is something that we are going to be sending it out to the larger community and to on the Facebook, and we are going to start running some more ads and targeted things here to build that community. So all of that's coming up. Put that because I just feel like it's slowing my computer way down. Let me pull up just so I can give you guys a full screenshot of that comic preview. Hold on 1 second. I wasn't necessarily planning on this, but why not? We had a really good group of individuals that we were working on this when we put this together. And this is also part of the, oh my gosh, I'm going to screw up her name. But for those of you who followed the blog, this was kind of a precursor to what had happened on one of our blogs. And it details that. So when you do sign up for the VIP tier, I do believe that this is ready to share. If it's not, then it will be going out here very shortly to everybody when they sign up for that. But again, I just want to let you know, because I know that you guys have supported us in so many ways. And obviously the dragon breeds are something special, and that's why we're including a new breed. I never want to say, like, with finality that like this is the end of this, right? Meaning like introducing new breeds before official launch. But we know that because of the way that people have responded to the release of new breeds, that it is one of those carrots that work really well and that we're excited to share. Anyway, I'll leave that at that, because once we get this all launched and put together, this will be the last breed that we do. That's kind of like a blank, like a pre-announce. The rest of it will come from that discovery process within the experience. So just to kind of share that with you guys, because I know there has been some question on whether or not there will be stuff to discover inside there, and there will. But again, like, your dragons are going to be young for a while, so take that at your own risk. And again, I will go through the questions here in just a sec, but I just wanted to share that we are going to have an updated beta testing timeline, just to kind of let you guys know, because one of the biggest things that we have been working on is the post-hatch experience. What you saw on the Lauren story was a teaser of one of the animatics that has been put together by Dave. Those of you know Dave, he's one of the original co-founders of this project. And we're using this as a testing ground because, again, there are nuances about how the dragon moves based on your input, not just kind of general input. We've talked about this before, and I will just share this with you in the most open way that I can without revealing too much. But if you're used to traditional pet sims or even games, certain interactions will trigger certain animations, which means that you kind of get this saturation of nuance, or it doesn't actually happen, stagnation of nuance, if you will. And the reason why some of this is taking so long is because as you interact with your dragon in your unique way, the dragon just doesn't like go into like a base set of animations. This is where we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum, but it's a lot harder to do than you think. And what that's going to do is increase the beta testing timelines. The beta tested timeline, we are looking to be able to run a full beta where you guys will be able to hatch your dragon and then also engage with your dragon for a small period of time. We're kind of looking at about a 3-month testing table timeline for this, because obviously once your dragon hatches, all the stuff that you can do with your dragon will continue to persist outside of the egg. And so even the stuff that we've already done with the testing inside the egg, we still need to have a lot of testing on the outside of that. And so there will be binding in there. There will be some out of the whole out of egg interaction, as well as some of the progression and markers that we have for both the dragon's growth and the user growth. And so that's really what we're going to be testing here. And if cross our fingers, but we're hoping to get that done in the next 30 days, or target that in the next 30 days. And why is that important? Because we're revamping the testing protocol. We do have all of you guys, anybody that's purchased an egg, just so you know, you're all going to get early access. But what is going to change on that is that we're not just going to open up the floodgates for everybody to be testing it right away, especially if you're not familiar with kind of testing protocols, meaning like you're going to get access to a feature that may be decoupled from the rest of it. And we just have to make sure that those people that are involved in that are, especially the first pieces of it, to validate that the feature works, that they understand how to use it, and that it's a good experience. And then once we have that initial testing done, then it will be expanded out to the larger group for them to be able to mess with that, so that we can give a set of rules to everybody that says, hey, we've already checked this, we've checked X, Y, and Z. You don't need to comment on those. We're already working on these things. What we're now looking for it is, how much you like to use this feature, how much certain interactions are really driving your engagement. What are you hoping to do more of? What are you hoping to do less of? What doesn't make sense? And so then it kind of streamlines our testing feedback, so that you don't have to be bogged down with, oh, there's like this back button, or this little thing doesn't look right. Instead of getting down into the details with that, it will be way more focused on the functionality, the overall functionality, the overall usability, and how you guys enjoy engaging with your dragons. And so we're still working on how we're going to do this part of it, because I do want to get you guys the opportunity to, I guess, volunteer for that early stage testing. However, we do have to have like a criteria for involvement in that, because it is going to take some time and a little bit more thoughtful feedback. And if that's something that you can do and you're familiar with these kind of pipelines, then great. If not, then just wait, because like 3 weeks, you'll be able to put into the larger pool when it gets, involved with everybody. But like I said, this new beta timeline, we're hoping to be there in the next 30 days and get you guys to be able to start really doing this, seeing what happens when you affect your dragon negatively and positively, even in the egg experience, and then moving beyond the egg and having your dragon outside of that. So that's really our goals here in the near term, which means that this is all going to kind of drag into the Kickstarter, because we want to unleash you guys even in the beta to be able to share this with the community. The one thing that we didn't want to do, especially with launching the Kickstarter, was to we know that there's some stuff online, and for those, you guys have been with us a long time, I don't need to rehash any of that, but my goal to you guys and to the community at large is to make sure that everything that's coming out is being seen, and that there's no questions of whether or not the dragon hatches, or whether or not it does certain things, or whether or not those questions will all be answered, because we want you guys to be able to share those stories of what this looks like, even through the beta, which then we can get into a steady cadence of announcing, especially with the Kickstarters, the stretch goals for what that unlocks, when we talk about things like multiplayer, when we talk about things like even experiences or VR, because that's all there. And just trying to keep this in a much more structured and driven fashion, instead of, hey, we're going to open up the world to you guys and it's all going to be ready on day one. But this is like, no, I mean, this stuff is still going to take time, but it's going to allow you to start raising your dragons. And with that, once we launch the Kickstarter, we are going to go into like a full e-com sort of presentation after that. We are planning on the Kickstarter to do fairly well, based on what our targets are, which means that some of the breeds are going to sell out. That is what we're going to be driving for, and based on the number of VIP signups that we're going to have is when we actually go live. We've already got those numbers worked out. I'll share them with you as we get like really into that advanced sort of launch phase of the Kickstarter, so that you guys can help us. But yeah, I'm really excited about what's going on with all of this stuff, because like all the groundwork has been laid at this point, and we put the right partnerships, we put the right people, and those things are still going to grow. We've still got a lot to do on that. But yeah, I guess the last piece of this before I go into questions was dragon egg production. So for anybody that did purchase an egg at FanX, we did get those out, except for the pygmies. The pygmies were being sold at FanX, and you guys haven't had the opportunity to purchase the eggs. We didn't make that available to the larger but we ran into some manufacturing problems as well as some material problems on those, so that they weren't. If you were in that batch of people that purchased those, we apologize that we didn't get them out before Christmas. Everybody else should have been fulfilled on that, but the pygmy eggs, they are coming, and everything that was available at FanX or otherwise should be available on the Kickstarter. Just to let you guys know. So those things, if you are looking to do those and you want to get in early on those, then they will be available on those. And then the second piece of that is the failure that keeps happening to the product. We think that we found a viable solution because I didn't want to lose the liquid cores, but they have been problematic for various reasons, as many of you are very intimate with. But just to make the official announcement here, so just in case you're not on our Discord or some of the other places, before we actually launch the experience, anybody that has a faulty egg at this point will be you'll be issued a new one. So I'm hoping that this new system that we're working on can be validated. And that's why I've offered for some of you that have tickets on broken eggs and whatnot, to elect to be a tester on this version, because it still allows us to do the liquid core. But everybody on our ops side is telling me to get rid of it because, failures like this, we don't want to be shipping product that's going to be where they're going to be hatching early and making it seem like that your dragon may not be making it. And plus, we want the eggs to be a little bit more longer lasting, just because we do plan on using them as a second vessel for breeding. And so that's kind of in a nutshell, but rest assured, you will be taken care of. You're not going to have to live with the egg. And again, let me reiterate this. All the materials are natural and non-toxic. They may stain because it looks like some of the minerals in there may be causing some oxidation. I hope that's not the case. If you're worried about it, put a blanket under your, not a blanket, but a towel or something. Most of them aren't exploding, just to be clear. We've had a couple of them that have cracked very largely and kind of opened up. But for that, again, we're taking on a case-by-case basis, and they will be replenished. So I just want to let you guys know that. That's been a pretty big question. And yeah, that's a lot of poo-poo from me. So I'm going to start going back through here and I'm going to try and catch up on some questions here and just see, is the app good and ready? About my egg like 2 years ago, I think. So Zerk, I think that I answered your question, but let me know if I didn't. Again, to reemphasize this, I don't give the dates because there's a lot of things that change and also features that get put in or taken away. And 2026 is our year. Like, I will say that it is our year. So thank you for putting up with us and being patient. Let's see. All the species previously announced are still good to go with the drop of the previous staff. Yes. So all species. So the 3 that have been announced, and I'll just reiterate that: the mountain skull, the elder, and the pygmy. All 3 of those are good to go. The new breed that we announced on the Kickstarter, that's a new one. So that will be 4. But that's going to be part of the VIP tier only. And then the election of, depending, we're playing with the reward system on that for what that's going to open up. Let's see. Between the website and the Discord, which is more up to date on information? So I would say that the Discord is actually more up to date on information than the website. And the reason why is because if you look at the VIP page that I posted in here, there's kind of new conversation and new stuff that the website is going to be updated based on that. Uh, so like even like if you look at the About Us page on the website, it really it still has the original, like the original employees and the original people that were working with it. And there's been some pretty monumental shifts, as well as the way that the product is focused. And just so that you guys kind of know, I mean, we did the panel at FanX. Did I ever publish that? And if I didn't, I am way, way, way behind. But we were talking about some of the things, and one of them was like the emotional support side of things. Because when you look at, I was thoroughly impressed, by the way, when we were asking the questions about binding. What do you guys want to see with it? There was a lot of people that came back, and it's like, well, I'm more interested to understand how it's going to affect my dragon, because what if my dragon doesn't like it? And that was right in line with where we always wanted to be with this. And that was one of the reasons why we don't talk about it from like a game or a pet sim standpoint, because it's so much more about this sort of connection that's created between your personal dragons. And what does that mean, and how do you raise them? And so the website, you can see a little bit more of that language in the landing page, but the website currently really doesn't dive into that. And that's where the website's going to get updated there. So continue to use Discord. Discord is like our best resource for updating this, but we are going to get a lot better with distributing this across multiple channels, especially as we officially launch the Kickstarter. And then the website should be a very up-to-date source on that. But I thank you for that question. So the dragons will officially speak to us. I love that you think that. We are still really focused on the nonverbal communication. There are going to be patterns and recognition and other things that your dragons will do that you will probably start to recognize through voice. But we're deliberately putting some anchors, if you will, on the speech side of things, because if anybody's been following the AI or companionship AI, there is a lot of bias that comes into that space. And the recommendations that come out, especially through large language models, is disturbing a lot of the time. And we don't necessarily want to go down that road, because it also breaks some of the interaction. But when it comes to speaking, we think that even some of the systems that we do have, you will be able to understand what your dragon's thinking very clearly, as well as being able to communicate with you very effectively. And those things are being peppered into what we're releasing, but we haven't released the full details of that yet, because it is a little bit of our proprietary roadmap. But we are gonna be testing that. So those are things to look for during the test that we're gonna come out, and we're gonna start testing. So just to share that with you. Let's see. I agree with you. We need dragons now more than ever. Yeah, so if you haven't been getting emails, especially if you've been with us for a long time, I'll tell you what, we're going to send out a bigger email, a bulk email, and kind of a re-engage. And just watch for that. Watch for spam. We'll share it in the Discord when we send it out, because that will allow you, if you click on a link, or if you say, yes, I still want to receive emails from Dragon Federation, that'll be a really good way to just kind of let the system know that you're engaged and that you want those things. We have quite the list. And so a lot of times, based on how many times that we send out emails, it just goes to certain people that are engaging. So I think that that's a really good way. Instead of having you guys go back to the website and re-sign up, you're more than welcome to do that. But if we want to just send out an email, that will allow you to click on a button that says, yes, I'm interested, then we can easily do that. And I think that that will be a pretty easy way to do that without having to reassign it. And then we can tag you in the system and keep you up to date that way as well. Significant buffering. Yeah, sorry about that. Let's see. Is there a way to sign up or be vetted for the beta testing? If so, how can we sign up? Yeah, so Kiss of Catholic, that is something that we're figuring out. I don't want to just say, yeah, everybody, or send out the list, but that's probably going to be the bulk way that we're going to do it. And probably part of that questioning will be, have you ever been a part of like a testing environment, protocols to detail and all that kind of stuff? But also we hope to have some forms and some pages that will allow it to be easier, even if you haven't, because it's going to be more of a time issue, as well as we're going to have analytics and everything else in it, so that we'll see when we have report crashes and bug crashes like that. But it's more like, I'll get the details for that, and we'll share it. I'll definitely, the sign up will be in Discord. I will let you know that, because those are where our most active people are. So if you're not active yet there and you are looking to be a part of this group, then make sure that you're involved in the Discord. More than likely, it will start with our VIP tier, and then move down from there for those that have signed up for the VIP side of things. But just to kind of let you know how I'm thinking on this. Love to test on the beta features. So again, just to let everybody know, you'll all be able to test those features. There will be some people that will be in a slightly earlier group of testing, because those won't be overly refined as much as we're getting early feedback in an agile environment. So we can say, okay, this is an MVP on an idea that we've had. Does this work? Does it not? Right? Like, no, the data is showing that you guys don't like this, or that you're getting stuck, or that some other things are happening. And then we can do iterations on it and see if it's a feature that actually drives forward. Because what we're trying to do is not put anything that's just going to be extra, that's cool to have. We want to make sure that we've got the experience really focused on how you guys want to engage with your dragon, and that's our focus for now. So, but anybody that has an egg will be involved in that, just so you know. Beta tester, let's see. Keep going down this, so forgive me for any pauses that I have. Do we have a true timeline in place that can be released to the public? So, good question, Sprat. So the goal is for us is that when we go into beta testing on this, that we're going to release the full timeline, including putting it on the Kickstarter. So with what we've already done, and once the Kickstarter is up on the Kickstarter page, there will be a full timeline that is released with that, and including during the beta testing phase on this. So I'm not going to do that right now, because there's still a couple of things. And like I said, the personnel side of this is the hard part. When you look at game developers, and I'll just share this with you guys, game developers are used to developing a very specific way, and we're not developing that way. And so it takes a special person, and there is a little bit of kind of recycling that. So going through, finding the right people and putting that together. And so that's part of the reasons why I'm not coming on here just blasting timelines and all of that. So just to share that with you. One of mine finally leaked. Liquid Core was cool, but the way you guys did it, the Elder Egg was top tier. Okay. It's good to know that you liked the Elder Egg from that standpoint, because just to let anybody know, the Liquid Core, so there's two things with that. Traveling on a plane is a nightmare. You have to check that thing. If you don't, because it's got liquid in it, they will confiscate it. They've tried to do it to me so many times. And so it's one of those things that it's one of those things that it's probably better at this point just to remove it, because then you guys don't even have to deal with that. And if the elder egg is you still like where that's going, and for those that you haven't seen it, but like the pygmy egg, one sec. I should have been better prepared, but like the pygmy egg, this one doesn't have a liquid core either. And so if these are working out well and these things are going well, then we can just do that with the mountain skull and call it good, and not have to worry about this thing becoming an issue ever again. So yeah, just to kind of address that, both my eggs are still good. It's funny because like my eggs, my personal eggs, none of them, all the ones that I've given to my kids and other things, they've never cracked. Our failure rate is still extremely low based on the percentage that we've actually shipped basis on the ones that were replaced, and that we're still like less than 5%. So it's, although it's pretty noisy, if you see it in the channels, it's actually not as common as you think it is. Let's see, you did put it up. Let's see, no, those previous pieces for once offer, not the 3 right now, and the VIP. Haven't been getting emails, the VIP tier. So currently, if you didn't see the pricing on it, it's just a $5. You guys are familiar with this, like the reservation on the VIP side. We're attaching it as like a reservation. That means I'm going to participate in the Kickstarter, and I'm going to participate because I'm going to put a little bit of skin in the game. And the reason why we're doing that is the same thing the way we've done it in the past with other reservations. We need to have a certain amount of number, and we're driving to that number before we actually officially launch everything, because just like we did with the elder egg, we wanted to know how many people were going to purchase it, because we needed to produce those. I'm sorry, scratch that, rewind it. We needed to go harvest them from the dragon realm, and we want to make sure that we're not doing more than we needed to at the time, and understanding what the demand is for that. So those are the reasons why we do have that VIP. It's a one-time $5. For those of you that are looking for a monthly subscription on that, I think that the VIP subscription is still available on the website, but the Kickstarter as of right now, I don't think that we can attach any Affirm or payment plans with that. So just to kind of prepare you for it, that's kind of the way that that's going to go. Let's see. Oh, that's Skyrider. I love how everybody's got different names. Possible to interact with our dragons offline. So that's a really good question, Fennec. Will you be able to interact with your dragons offline? So there's a couple of things that I will address with that. There's a lot of information that's being shared with the cloud to make sure that your dragon is being kept up to date. It's not to say that a lot of the heavy lifting isn't going to be done locally on your device, but one of the things that we are playing with is the idea that there are sessions, right? And those sessions would be allowed to be offline. It's one of those things that, depending on where it's loaded up and how it's loaded up previously, there may have to be some sort of update thing that's like informing the application that you're going to be offline for an extended period of time. And it's just like, like if you're going to go on a plane or something like that, like you have to download your Spotify playlist or even some movies or whatever, some content, that if that has to exist similarly, that's a really good suggestion. But there is some things that we are playing with right now, especially on the hatch sequence, that would go really well with the offline. So if that is a feature that you guys are interested in, then keep letting us know. because we're going to be looking for those solutions. A lot of Discord people asking about their tickets just going unanswered. Yeah, I don't think that that's an issue. Just so you know, Megasora, I went through yesterday and started answering as many as I could before I got interrupted, and then I got lost in like Facebook answering questions and some other things like that. But I am making my way through those tickets. Hopefully, I'll be through them this week. I think I don't even know which one I got up to, but I've been working my way through those. So yeah, I'll try and answer those. So for the egg replacement, I'm almost tempted not to even send out the versions that we've been testing with that are still liquid core. What we'll do then is once we get the new process, the new batch up and running, that's the non-liquid core, we'll go ahead and we'll get that list updated for anybody that needs a replacement, and we'll just put that into the queue. And we'll keep you posted on where it is through the manufacturing, through the harvesting. Dang it. Through the harvesting of those new eggs. And then we'll get them issued for you. For sure. Just put a pin, Discord ticket, like it. Are the pygmy eggs glow in the dark? So I know that you can't see it, but every single one of these in the different colors, yes, currently they glow. Do you want to do a quick experiment? I don't even know if this one will do it, but hold on one second. I am going to remove this giant light source. So you can maybe see that. But yes, the pygmies do have bioluminescence, so they do glow. And the cool thing is all the different colors glow different colors too. So it makes it really cool. If you've seen the lineup, I think that it might have been in some of the images that we released, especially at the FanX. It's pretty cool. Let's see. It was a very nice feeling. Something I do miss a lot. I'm not sure. I think, Fennec, you're talking about the liquid core. I'm not sure about that. But are available for sale, have been sold, going to be available for launch, whether they're a waiting period before the others beyond the mountain skull. So chances are a lot of the breeds are going to be made available. Like when we talk about the elder, I'm still working out the deal with FanX because technically that's still an exclusive with them, but they're looking to partner with us. The mountain skull is that precursor, and the pygmies are always going to be available. But a lot of the other breeds will probably be contingent on whether or not you have a mountain skull or another dragon. And so that's just kind of one of the thought process that we are going through right now, just to kind of share that with you. Any way to request the new liquid core instead? Finnick, if you have a ticket that's opened, let's talk about that, because let's get you a test version of the new process that we've been working through, and let's get a couple of examples and see if we can't put it through the rigor, because I don't have a problem getting anybody at the liquid core if they still want that, because we still have that availability. But there will be some things that we have to just keep in mind, because if they do start cracking, I mean, again, like we shipped these things over 3 years ago. So like the shelf life on these, it was good to know that this was happening and that the reactions were happening that were also kind of deteriorating some of the other interior materials. But the truth of the matter is like it shouldn't have been the way that it's been. But yeah, Fennec, we can work with you on that. Just so you know, let's just make sure that your ticket reflects that. Um, I'm glad you guys like the look of the pygmies. I was really stoked when I saw them. Let's see. So mountain skull or a pygmy to be able to use your elder. Yeah, I mean, the truth of the matter is that if you guys have an elder right now, you will be able to use your elder. I'm not going to make, for those of you who've heard anything that goes on with it, the elder's still going to be a very finicky dragon. So if that is your one and only dragon, Godspeed. And I'm not saying that in a threatening way as much as I'm saying like it's the personality of that dragon is far more complicated than the mountain skull or the pygmy, and there's going to be a lot to learn, especially on the early onboarding of this. So just sharing that, right? It's a cool dragon. It really is, but it's an independent gal. I can test them. I'll update the ticket. Let's see. Looking at one more of these, it was previously said that Pygmy Dragons would not have a mobile app component. Is this still true? We have to gate it because the Pygmy Dragons are far more complicated because they're an everywhere, all over the place dragon. And some of the things that we're doing with the app, and you guys will see this when you start testing it. I don't want to give anything away yet, to be quite honest with you. But you know how the pygmy dragons move, and that's the most complicated thing about it. Because as pygmies start interacting with the real environment, it just produces a whole bunch of new problems. But that doesn't mean that it won't be available in the app. It just might be in a more controlled scenario. Let me just put it that way. Does the pygmy come in purple? Not yet. But from what I understand, from those that have been on expeditions, there are several different types of pygmies. These pygmies that we have currently are cave pygmies. But from what I understand, there's been sightings and spottings of pygmies that are basically all sorts of different biomes and areas. So having a purple one isn't. I could probably say that there's probably going to be one at some point, because just by the way that we've seen them kind of scattered through the environment, shapes, sizes, colors seem to be pretty vast with the pygmies. Let's see. Can we hatch our elder until we've gotten used to the dragons? Can we wait to hatch? Yeah. So the good thing is about any of your dragons, we will have like the sort of stasis on it. Even if you put your dragon in there, it doesn't mean that you have to start raising it, and those are things that you can elect to activate it when you're ready, but it will still be in your app so that you can control it, just so that you know. Let's see. So far buying dragons going forward, that would be best to the Kickstarter. Will it go back to the website? So, yeah, so we're going to launch on the Kickstarter, then it will go back to the website. So once we're done with the Kickstarter, it will go back to the website, and that's where it will be indefinitely, or it will also be with some of the partners. So if you've been to, there are going to be some things with our theme park partners and some of the other partners that we work that will probably be exclusive for certain breeds and certain other opportunities, but everything will be back on the website, just so that you know. With that, do you plan to support the lighter weight AR glasses to project our dragons into the world? So honestly, this is what I'm like, it's such a great question, Fennec. Like it's one of the things that I'm the most excited about. For those of you that have been following this project forever, the idea that you're going to have a lighter weight glass, it's one of the reasons why we're talking about like the brain visualizer and some of the other pieces of this, because there are multiple ways to engage with your dragon. And as the technology is finally catching up to what the vision was and is, yeah, the experience on this thing is going to expand. And the beautiful thing, one of the most amazing things that our CTO has done, when we talk about this as truly being platform agnostic, we are truly platform agnostic, meaning no matter what new technology comes down the pike, or hardware that gets obsoleted, we will still be able to adjust and adapt on the fly. And that's something that has taken some while to set that up and get everything prepared for that. But I've got some things that, you know me, I never come to these things unprepared with like carrots dangling. And we've got some things that are really, really cool, especially when it comes to the hardware. So I'm excited to start opening this up a little bit and sharing it, and that's probably going to go into the Kickstarter with like stretch goals and some of the other stories that we release. But I'll just share that with you. But the AR glasses specifically, when we start looking at whether it's the Meta Ray Bans or like the visualizers and some other things like that, like this is the original thought process, right? And being able to engage with your dragon, even if you can't physically see the dragon running around, this is all part of it. So this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. This has kind of been part of the bigger part of the grand vision for quite some time, and finally technology is catching up to what we've been wanting to do. So yeah. Log in and have my dragons with you. Yeah. So Fennec, you said it. I've said it. This is part of the thing. CES. There's been a lot of announcements around the XR sort of hardware. It's only going to get better. It's only going to get better, and we're already there for it. Like the development processes and what we've been working on is to make sure that we're ready for it. So that's what I'm really excited about. Different biome pygmies. Imagine throwing your glasses on, walking outside, your dragon comes and lands in front of you with some sort of messenger gift. Toothless fish. I mean, speaking the love language there, you're kind of thinking where we wanted to go with this already. The hardest part about that, just so that you guys can all be aware of, is like when you look at the amount of data that has to go in and be processed for LiDAR scanning. So if you look at your phone, most of your phones now have LiDAR, and the Quest 3S has it. A lot of the high-end headsets have it. LiDAR is expensive. And at real time, this is also where it gets really, really, the development of this becomes careful planning, because when you're using other services like say Google Maps or GPS, and then you've also got LiDAR scanning, so that the environment can be, now that has to be met with iris calibration, because if it's full sun and you walk into a shaded environment, then it blows out irises, things can't see as well. The LiDAR can, but the cameras that are actually mapping the planes and understanding the depth, that's where this is a little bit more complicated than it looks. But this is also one of the reasons why we are developing multiple ways to engage with your dragon, not just the embodied 3D version of it, but the multiple different versions. And this is what it's going to be really fun about this sort of next phase of testing, if you will. So splurge on the fancy gear like AR glasses, let alone a Quest 3 to replace my Quest 2. Yeah, I know. Hardware is a bear, honestly. And the truth of the matter is it's going to constantly change. But the good thing is I think we're hitting some sort of, we're hitting a zone. I don't know if you guys saw some of the releases that were done at CES, but like even the solid state batteries, some of the other things with like the visions and computing, and there will be a point where, just like smartphones, that now you're just like upping the resolution, and it's not really going to change the capabilities of what it's able to do. It's just more like if you want to see it in higher fidelity. And so, but we'll talk about all of that. So Steam Deck. again, we've got plans for multiple different platforms and hardware devices, and I'm not going to reveal any of those yet, because other than what we've already shared, just because they are kind of on our IP strategy, and we're keeping those under the hood. But you know, just keep your ears to the grindstone on the testers, because as we're moving through this stuff, um, there will be opportunities. I'll just put it that way. There's an approximate date for the Pygmy egg shipping. We're hoping that, like, honestly, the Pygmy egg shipping starts before the Kickstarter does. And if not, it will be right alongside of that. So you still should be able to have opportunities with the beta test before it goes live. That's our goal. I'll keep you updated on that. And I know, unfortunately, for anybody that hasn't purchased one yet on the eggs, because the eggs are a different price than those that just bought the digital Pygmy, I just want to make that very, very clear. We're not going to be selling the Pygmies until the Kickstarter. So if you haven't gotten one prior to that, then that's going to be the only place to get an egg for yours. And if you do already have a digital reservation, then that will be deducted off of the overall cost of the egg. But because we kind of bundled that at FanX this year. But just to kind of share that, we are a little bit over. I appreciate every single one of you coming on here, asking questions, getting involved, staying involved. Again, like, I'm really excited for this year. I'm really excited for the progress that the team has made, and I'm very excited to get back into the swing of things with communicating with you guys, because a lot of some of the heavy lifting is being relieved from me. That's not requiring my time as much in other places, and that's why I'm hoping to re-engage Lauren's story. I'm hoping to keep this at least twice monthly. Moving forward, because there's going to be a lot of information that we want to share, and we want to just stay up to date with you guys. But trees, rocks, just something to show a tiny bit of the world. Any depth on sharing those? I'm gonna hold off. I will share this. That image of the dragon that is on the Lauren story, that is part of our previs work that we have been doing when the dragon is hatched, just as a little teaser. But other than that, I am going to keep that a little tight-lipped, just because we want to get pretty far with what we do before we start releasing this, and then those updates will come fast and furious. Just to kind of share that with you guys. Anyway, keep up the communication. Thank you guys for keeping the Discord alive and staying with us and being interested. And like, truly, we could not do this without you. I don't want to do it without you guys, and we plan on like increasing just the number of people that are involved in this from the Federation standpoint, like moving forward here. So again, thank you for all your support and all that you do, and we will talk to you soon. All right. Thanks for coming, and thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. Let's go 2026. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.